let's go ahead and hear one more word from Mr. Jerry Jarrett. He was asked his thoughts about Ric Flair. So producer Steve's got a clip queued up. It's Jerry Jarrett on Ric Flair. Let's hear that now.
Member of Ric Flair coming down to work in Memphis and work with you.
This is going to be good.
First I want is I have great respect and admiration for Ric Flair's wrestling career. He has a lot of staying power, as testimony that he's at his age still having his last match. Personally, though, and am I right, Jeff? You told me to be totally honest.
Yes.
Personally, I have more respect for a chipmunk that I've been trying to shoot out in the yard. And, you know, Rick is a self-centered, selfish, egotistical person. And I can give you a number of examples. One was I would bring him to Memphis. He didn't draw anything like Dory Funk or Terry Funk or Luthez or Jack Briscoe. But Eddie Graham, my friend, I guess he appealed to him, but everybody kept calling me saying, why don't you bring Rick back? Well, it was very simple. He didn't draw very much in Memphis and Louisville and Evansville and Lexington. So that was the reason. The other thing was he was very difficult to get along with. I finally yielded and brought him back to Memphis. And the Saturday before the Memphis, Coco Ware beat Jerry Lawler for the title. So instead of Rick wrestling Lawler, which wouldn't have done any good for our business, he wrestled Coco Ware, and Rick went through the roof. He did a little child tantrum in the dressing room. Very difficult, very unprofessional. The next incident I can tell you about is that after I came home from WWE when Vince was exonerated, I went to as a consultant for Eric Bischoff. And Eric asked me, he said, I'm having a little problems. Will you come down and look at the situation and see if you can suggest how to handle it? Well, Eric's office was at the back of the North Tower at CNN. And as I'm walking down the hall, Rick is coming out of what I later found out was the booking room. So we made eye contact. He goes back in, slams the door. I hear chairs thrown against the wall, cursing, profanity. Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart, I think, both came out and said, just go on back to Eric's office. Flair is having a fit. I said, why? He said, oh, he thinks you're coming down to take his job. I said, hell, tell him I wouldn't take his job for $1 million a day. Well, Eric was embarrassed. I ended up saying to him, Eric, I'll head on back to Nashville, and when you get your company under control, call me back and we can have some conversation. So I went back home. That's the Ric Flair that I know. Again, I respect his wrestling career. He drew a lot of money, made great interviews, decent matches, but I don't hold him in very high esteem personally.
So there you go. Rick, your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is because once again, I can't wait to Friday night for Bischoff to attempt to roast me. God only knows why he wants to put himself in that position. But I probably didn't say hi to him because I didn't know who he was. And number one, and number two, he could have had that job any day of the week. I hated working in that office. I certainly wasn't throwing the chairs around. I was probably throwing the chairs around because I found out I had to put Hogan over for the 5th time because nobody else would work with him. He wouldn't work with Rude. He wouldn't work with Vader. And then the same thing with Savage. I put him over 5 times. So they could have had that job anytime. All I was for Eric was the marquee name to take all the heat for all of Eric's decisions. That's all it was. That's Sullivan. That's Mike Graham. I can't ask Mike now. Greg Gagne. I mean, we sit there for hours. Have them just come in and say, well, it's kind of like when I retired at Halloween Havoc. I was supposed to have a year off at pay, right? 1 month after I lost to Hogan, Halloween Havoc, they called me to come back. You tell me. It ain't fact. It's history. You don't have to look it up. Remember, I got dressed up like a girl in the crowd
Oh yeah.
to embarrassingly watch Arn put over the Renegade in 13 fucking seconds. How humiliating was that for Arn?
Yeah.
All Eric did was humiliate us. Want me to give you 10,000 other examples? I can't wait for the roast. I can't believe he wants to roast me. I got a lot of ammunition on that guy. And if Jerry Jarrett's there, I'll tell him. That nickel dime promotion he ran, I wouldn't work for him because they didn't have money to pay me. Why would I go to Memphis for $500 when I can make $2,000 in my hometown of Charlotte? And by the way, Coco Beware thanks me every day for that match. So, and as far as Jerry Jarrett or Jeff Jarrett, me even being considered in the same possible scenario in terms of work rate, interviews, or who I am in the business, I don't even know those guys are in the top 100. Shit, maybe not even the top 200.
Well, it's interesting that the more we talk about this, the more it becomes about Jim Crockett Promotions and the CWA or the USWA. It's the Jarretts and the Crockett.
Hey, no, hey,
Flair.
while we have David here, David, how much power did I have at WWE or WCW?
Power?
Yeah.
You know,
Huh?
everybody had equal power.
How
You know,
much? How much did I have control over creative?
Not a lot.
None.
Not a lot. I mean, in that we would ask you and ask everyone to participate in discussions about their matches. I mean, that's why we did so well. You know, that
You remember the show with Brian Pillman and me and Arn in Detroit, right? With
Yep.
Sting. We
Yes.
turned it around. The hottest angle.
Yeah.
One of the hottest angles we ever shot.
Yeah.
The next day, we go to Jacksonville, Florida. Sting beats both me and Arn. Walks back. Bischoff walks back in the locker room. Sting's back. The angle lasted 1 day.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it was the best thing they had.
you know.
How about me?
Now
taking
you're
a-
talking WCW. I thought you were talking about Joe Crockett.
No,
Promotions.
WCW. How
Oh,
much
so
say?
forget it.
I
There
had
is
no say.
You had no control.
Thank
Zero.
you. Thank
Zero.
you. And you
Zero.
being the executive producer, you would know. Zero.
Yeah, zero. Yeah,
Yeah.
nada. No.
Jerry Jarrett. Jesus Christ. How old is Jerry?
And I don't know what I expected with today's episode, but it does feel like people are they're ready to see this main event this Sunday. You can get all the information you've been looking for at RicFlairsLastMatch.com.